Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Awesome.
Shabbat Shalom. If we could ask everyone to please find your places. Shabbat Shalom and welcome. Before we begin, I'm going to ask Rabbi Bernie to do something that we haven't been able to do here in over a year. Rabbi,
Thank you. Something special.
I'll ask you to all please rise.
An open ark, which we haven't seen in quite a long time. And of course, it shows the beautiful Torah covers that we had. It's the first time we're actually able to view them. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Praise are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, granting us life, sustaining us, and enabling us to reach this day.
Amen. We are going to close the ark. That's the last time you see it open for tonight. It won't open again. You may be seated. For those of you that are home right now, if you can hear me, wave to me. Good. We'll get back to you in a minute. They can't, these people cannot see you. So Shabbat Shalom, as we always do. We always welcome the Friday night to Shabbat with good news.
Yadidai.
Huh?
How about a Yadidai first?
You want to do that first?
Yes.
I thought we'd do the good news first.
Okay, go right
And then
ahead.
we do the Yadidai. But you know what?
Sounds good.
You know what? Do the Yadidai first. This way I can figure out who I want to go see first. So go ahead, do the Yadidai.
Yadidai, die, 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 die. Yadidai, die, 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 die. Yadidai, die, 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 die. Yadidai, die, 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 die. Yada da 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 da. Yada da 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 da. Yada da 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 da. Yada da 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 da. Da da. Yada da. Yada da 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 da. Yada yada da. Yada da 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 da. Bim bum bim 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 bum bim 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 bum bim bum bim 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 bum bim 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 bum. Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat Shalom.
Yes.
Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Hey.
Shabbat Shalom.
Yes.
Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Yes. Shabbat 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 Shalom.
I haven't seen you in person since Kashlich. Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi. That's my good news. All right, does anyone here have any good news? Because if you do, I'll come walking over to you and I'll stay a little distance so you can talk into the mic so the people at home can hear you. Does anybody have any good news they want to spread? Stand up so I can stay away from you.
The good news is that last weekend, I got to watch my 6-year-old granddaughter ride a two-wheeler without training wheels for the first time.
I'm telling you, she's going to be skiing soon, right? And she's already been skiing. She's going to take you out.
Yeah, she's wonderful. And then Wednesday night, I got to spend time with her and make supper for her because both her parents were out for dinner. So,
Fabulous news. Who else has some good news for us? Anyone? All right, I'm going to sneak over here. Folks at home, I'm sorry, you can't see me.
My good news is that we welcomed a new baby cousin to the family this week. And the baby's great grandmother and my mother were first cousins. So biologically, it's not a close relationship, but family-wise it is.
Very nice. Congratulations to both of you. And many more. Did I see a hand go up over here? Yes, I did. All right.
Today, I got an invitation in the mail to Josh and Catherine's wedding. So let the wedding season begin. They're getting married in July.
July, Mazel Tov. Congratulations. Great. something that will happen outside. Anybody up front here while I'm here? Okay.
Our great news is we're back.
That's right.
We're so thankful.
There we are. That's great news. Anyone else? Okay. I feel like Art Linkletter.
Joe had back surgery in January, and he is now walking 10,000 steps a day.
Kidding, you walked in faster than I did tonight. You're standing up fat. You're standing up straighter than I do. Congratulations. It's great to see
The
you.
question is, where's he walking to?
I don't know. Anyone else with some good news? or- Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I don't know if this is going to work. But you folks at home, you feel alone, don't you? You feel lonely? Are you lonely tonight? What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually unmute you folks at home. We don't normally do this. But if someone has some good news that they'd like to share with us, you can unmute your mic now, one at a time, and say what you'd like to say. Who's first? If I can hear them. Someone?
Okay, I'll start.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay, this is Stephen Joanne Wasotsky. I just wanted to report I had the pleasure and the honor of completing the second Torah today. And we all said Shechianu together, and
We're ready
that
for
was
number 3. We're ready for Torah 3.
I'm ready for Torah 3. Bring it on.
Congratulations, Steve. Thank you. That's great news. Who else has some good news for us?
I've got some good news. It's
Okay,
happening.
Harriet?
Yeah. My oldest daughter had a birthday this week. My granddaughter had a birthday this week. I had a birthday this week. And my 6th grader in Florida, Jonah Feinstein, just was accepted into the Junior National Honor Society.
Wow, you have big good
Yeah,
news.
that's
Mazel
quite a
tov,
week.
happy birthday and all the great stuff. When I get back to my other place, I'll have a l'chaim tovim for you, okay?
Okay.
Mazel tov, congratulations. I see Paula has hers open. Paula?
Yes, I do. First of all, Shabbat Shalom. I have really good news. My sister Tanya and Al Lampert's granddaughter is safe. She was there yesterday with the Lag BaOmer celebration that was supposed to be a celebration.
Yeah.
And she's safe, and her people that she went with are all safe. So that's really good news.
Paula, thank you for that. And just before the mourner's Kaddish, we're going to remember that tonight before. So thank you for bringing that up as well. And glad she's safe. We're sorry for those that are not. Anyone else with some good news? If not, we're going to lock you folks down again. And the reason I'm doing it is not because we don't like you, because we love you. It's just we don't want you to make any mistakes. And with that, page 13, those of you at home, page 13, those of you here in the Siddur, we begin with Shalom Aleichem, welcoming the angels of peace.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nil Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Whoops, I forgot to put on my tallit. Thank you for reminding me. This is why we need people in the sanctuary, because at home I have Kit to remind me. Here I have you folks. Thank you for doing it. It is time for us to read together, and of course, reading is appropriate. All of you at home, and for those of you here as well, let us read at the bottom of page 13. The sun on the treetops no longer is seen. Come, let us welcome Shabbat, the true queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her God's angels of peace and of rest. Come now, dear Queen, with us abide. Come now, Shabbat, our bride. Shalom Aleichem, angels of peace. Page 14, Yadid Nefesh.
It really comes into him more than one voice at the same time for
Ready?
these prayers.
You
Isn't
ready?
something? I'm ready. Page 14. Yedid nefesh av harachaman mishach avdach el ritzonach yarutz avdach kemo ayal yishtachave emul hadarach ye'erav lo yedidutach mino fetzuf bechol tam. Yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da. Yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da.
And at the bottom of page 14, let us read together. Dear God, help us now to make this a new Shabbat. After noise, we seek quiet. After crowds of indifferent strangers, we seek to touch those we love. After concentration on work and responsibility, we seek freedom to meditate, to listen to our inward selves. We open our eyes to the hidden beauties and the infinite possibilities in the world you are creating. We break open the gates of the reservoirs of goodness and kindness in ourselves and in others. We reach toward one holy, perfect moment of Shabbat. Page 15, Lechuna Ranana.
Lechune ranina, lechune ranina, lechune ranina, ladonai. Lechune ranina, lechune ranina, lechune ranina, ladonai. Naria, litzo yishenu b'kadma, fana b'toda. Naria, litzo yishenu Bizmirot Naria lo, lechune ranina, lechune ranina, lechune ranina ladonai, lechune ranina, lechune ranina, lechune ranina ladonai. Arbaim shana akut b'tov va'omar am toev levavhem v'hem lo yadu drachai Hashem nishpati v'api em yavaun al menuchati.
And now we're going to turn to page 18. We'll turn to page 18, and those of you that are joining us tonight will help me and help us. Responsive reading, those of you at home as well. Page 18. Sing to Adonai a new song, for God has worked wonders. God's might has been triumphant, revealing supreme power to all.
God has remembered his steadfast love and faithfulness to the house of Israel.
The whole world has seen the triumph of our God. Let all on earth shout for joy and break into jubilant song.
Sing praise to Adonai with the harp. With trumpets and horns, make a joyful noise.
Let the sea roar and all its creatures. Let the world and its many inhabitants.
Let the rivers applaud in exultation, and let the mountains all echo earth's joyous song.
Adonai is coming to rule the earth, to sustain the world with kindness, to judge its people with fairness.
Yiram hayam umlo tever v'yotzveva neharod yimchawchaf. Yachadarim Yeraneinu Lifnedana Kiva Lishpot Haaret Yishpot Tevel B'Tzedek V'Yamim B'Meisharim.
And now we turn to page 20. We rise, page 20, Mizmor LeDavid.
Mizmor LeDavid Havu Ladonai B'nei Elim Havu Ladonai Kavod Va'oz havu ladonai kevod shemo, ishtachavu ladonai behadrat kodesh, kol ladonai al hamayim, el hakavod hirim, Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai b'koach, Kol Adonai behada, Kol Adonai shove arazim, Vayishabir Adonai et arzei halvanon, Vayakidem kimo egel, Lebanon b'Sirion kimo, Ven re'emim, Kol Adonai chotev lahavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yecholel ayalot, Vayechasof ye'arot, Uvhechalo kulo, Omer kavod, Adonai lamavu yashav, Vayeshav Adonai melech liolam, Adonai oz liamo yitin, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
And you may be seated. We continue page 21, Lechadodi, every other stanza. Lechadodi.
Lecha dodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmianu el hamyuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shemu tiferet v'litchila. Lecha dodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. Mikdash melachim melucha, komitzei mitoch hafecha, Rav lach shevet be'emek habacha, vehu yachamol alayechem la, lecha dodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. Hitorari, kiva ore kumi ori, shidaberi, kivod Adonai alayek nigla, lecha dodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela. V'hayulim shisa sho, sayich v'rach al kul komev alayich, yasis alayich Elohayich, Kim soskatan al kala, lecha dodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela.
We turn and we face the congregational entrance as we welcome the Shabbat bride.
Boi v'shalom materet bala, Gam b'simcha v'tzala, Toch emunei am segula, Boi chala, Lecha dodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela.
And you may be seated. We'll turn now to page 23, and we will again read responsibly now the Psalm for Shabbat. Rabbi Bernie will now lead us.
It is good to acclaim Adonai, to sing your praise, exalted God.
To affirm your love each morning and your faithfulness each night, to the music of the lute and the melody of the harp.
Your works, Adonai, make me glad. I sing with joy of your creation.
How vast your works, Adonai. Your designs are beyond our grasp.
The thoughtless cannot comprehend, the foolish cannot fathom this.
The wicked may flourish, springing up like grass, but their doom is sealed, for you are supreme forever.
Your enemies, Adonai, your enemies shall perish. All the wicked shall crumble.
But me you have greatly exalted. I am anointed with fragrant oil. I have seen the downfall of my foes. I have heard the despair of my attackers.
The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree, and they shall grow tall like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they will thrive in the courts of our God.
They shall bear fruit even in old age. They shall be ever fresh and fragrant. To proclaim Adonai is just, my rock, in whom there is no flaw. 4 lines from the bottom. Tzaddik Hatama.
Tzaddik Hatama Yifrach, Ke'erez bavanon yizkeh, Shetolim beveit Adonai, Bechatrot Eloheinu yafrichu, Od Yenuvon b'seva, Tishenim Birananim Yeyo Lehadid Tiashar Adonai Sori Velo Avla Tabo.
Page 24. on the most-
Edo Tekon Ne'emnu Mi Oda Levet Kanava Kodesh Adonai Leorech Yamim.
And as we mentioned earlier during the good news, friends of Paula's was at Mount Meron last night who made it, who were lucky enough to not be one of the 45 or so people that perished last night on Lag BaOmer, and others, dozens of people that were seriously injured. With that, I think it's appropriate not only to say our thoughts and prayers are with them, because they are, but for us at this time on page 24, as a congregation, all of us, home and here, to rise and to say the words of the mourner's Kaddish together, as we remember the lost souls, our loved ones, yortzites, etc. Together, Yit Gadal, V'Yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'Alma, V'Vrach Hirutei, V'Amlich Malchutei, V'Chayechon, V'Yomechon, V'Chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'Gala, V'Bizman Kariv, V'Yamru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach, Le'olam Ulomei Omaya. Yiparach V'Yishtabach, V'Yipa'ar V'Yitromam V'Yitnaseh, V'Yithadar V'Yitale V'Yithalal, Shemei D'Kudusha Barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, damiran v'alma v'yamru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Please remain standing. As I will remind you, as we begin now the Baruch Hu, the call to worship, we're going to come to a specific part on page 30 that everybody loves to sing. And we all sing it out as loud as we can, and that's the Shema. But because we have the restrictions upon us, they're not my restrictions, they're not his restrictions. In fact, they're not even God's restrictions. It's the science. Until we're told you're able to all sing safely in the room, we're going to recite the Shema Yisrael together speaking. So when we get to that point, you can speak and we'll say it together. But know that God will hear us. He'll hear us and he'll hear the folks at home singing as loud as we all can. The Baruch Hu is page 28. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevarach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevarach Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated. We'll continue silently on page 28.
Umavir yom umevi laila, umavil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzevaot shemo. El chavakayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam vaed. Baruch ata Adonai, Amari varabim. Avat olam beit Yisrael amcha ata. Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu u'vkumeinu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayenu v'yorech yameinu uvahem nege יומם ולילה, ויעבדך תשמימנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו Yisrael. On page 30, we'll say the Shema together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Please join Rabbi Bernie, V'yavta.
V'yavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol avavcha b'chol nafshecha b'chol me'otecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha v'beitecha v'lechtecha v'derech ובשכבך ובקומך, קשרתם להיות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Let's read together. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day, you shall take to heart. Teach them diligently to your children, and recite them at home and away, night and day. Bind them as a sign upon your hand and as a reminder above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes and upon your gates. Continuing silently through the bottom of 30.
למען ירבו ימיכם וימי בניכם על אדמה אשר נשבע אדוני לאבותיכם לתת להם כמהשמיים על הארץ.
And on page 31, continuing with the chanting of Vayomer.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת והיה לכם לציצית וריתם אותו וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 32. ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה בני ישראל לכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אלה מלכותך ראו בניך בוקיים לפני משה זה אלינו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כי ברא את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. And now at this time, why don't you lead them in one of the Hashkivenu readings of your choice, Rabbi Bernie?
I like the top of page 33.
Then let's do the top of page 33.
Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace and guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praised are you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all his people, Israel, and over Jerusalem.
And the Hashkivenu is a prayer for protection of shelter, and especially with what's going on around the world with India and other countries that are still not only facing a pandemic, but you see the death and destruction that's going on around our world. What happened last night, of course, in Israel, with peace not fulfilled yet in our world. And so we beg God to shelter us, finally shelter us with his protection. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu V'hamidenu malkeinu V'hamidenu malkeinu L'chaim L'chaim Ufros alenu sukat shalomecha V'takneinu b'yetzat tova milfanecha V'hoshiyainu L'man Shemecha V'hakein b'adeinu V'hasem me'aleinu Oyev dever v'cherev v'rav v'yagon v'hachaser satan milfaneinu u'meyachareinu u'b'tzel kenofecha tastirenu u'b'tzel kenofecha tastirenu ki el shomreinu u'matzilenu ata ki el melech chanun v'rachumata Shmor tzeitenu Hovoeinu l'chaim u'shalom Ha'me'ata v'yad olam Ufros alenu sukat shalomecha Baruch atah Adonai Haporei sukat shalom aleinu V'al kol amo Yisrael Eyal Yerushalayim. And now on page 34, we rise for Vishamru.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם תשמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
אמן.
בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחיי כל וביומי ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח, יתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקדושה. בריחו לעילמים כל בחטא ושירתה. תוש בחטא ונחמתה תאמירם ויאמרו. Amen. The Amida will be silent, page 35A or B, your choice. You all have a siddur, and you know Hebrew or English. You also know the words in your heart. The Amida will be silent. We will not be saying each word tonight. When you have concluded the Amidah, you may be seated. And if you are still reading, please continue to do so at your personal pace. Please join Rabbi Bernie, page 38, in the passage after the Amida, my God, and then at the end of the word Redeemer. For those of you at home, please join him singing Oseh Shalom.
My God, keep my tongue from evil, my lips from lies, and help me ignore those who would slander me. Let me be humble before all. Open my heart to your Torah, that I may pursue your mitzvot. Frustrate the designs of those who plot evil against me, and make nothing of their schemes. Act for the sake of your compassion, your power, your holiness, and your Torah. Answer my prayer for the deliverance of your people. And may the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, my rock and my redeemer. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru. Amen.
May the one who brings peace to his universe bring peace to us, to all the people of Israel, V'al kol yoshvei tevel, and all who dwell on God's earth. We will together say,
Amen.
Amen. Since we've been going through the pandemic, we've been stopping at this point, not in your Siddur, it's in the morning. And we've been doing the Misha Berach for those who are ill. And we're going to continue that until everybody's healed. Sound good, Rabbi?
Sounds good to me.
Good idea. Let's continue to pray for people who are ill. I'm going to begin the Misha Berach. When I stop, those of you here, those of you at home, please say the name or names of people that you are remembering for refuah shlema, for complete healing at this time. Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah V'Chavachel V'Leah U'Yivarech V'Rafei Et. כל החולים בקהילה הקדושה הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם להחזיקם ולפרותם וישלח להם מהרה רפואה שלמה מנשמה בפרט הנפש ובפרט הגוף בתוך שחל ישראל שבתים לזוג ורפואה קרבו לבוא השתבח בזמן קריב ונאמר amen. May God bring blessing and healing to all those we've mentioned, all those we know of, those we may not know of, those we pray for on our personal daily lists, those who suffer illness within the congregational family. May the Holy One mercifully restore them to health and to vigor, granting them physical and spiritual well-being together with people everywhere who may be ill. Misha berach avotenu, mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say amen. Misha beherach imotenu, mekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say amen. As we turn now to page 47, we ask you to please rise for Vayechulu, page 47.
Vayechulu hashamayim ve'haaretz v'chol tzevam vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asa vayishpot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi vayikadesh oto ki bo shavat mikol melachto ki bo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim Asher bara Elohim lasos. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'hanora, El Elyon Konei Shamayim va'arei.
And you may be seated at this time. Okay.
Magen Avot Bidvaro Mechaye Metim B'Ma'amaro Ha'el HaKadosh Ein Kamohu Hameniach Le'amo B'Yom Shabbat Kadsho Kivam Ratzah Lehaniach Lahem Kivam Ratzah Lehaniach Lahem Lefanav navod b'yira v'chachad v'nodeh lishmo b'chol yom tamid me'on habrachot el hahodaot adon hashalom mikadesh hashabbat u'mavarek shvi'i Umeniach b'kedusha li'amedush ne'oneh zecher l'maseh v'reishi.
Page 48.
Eloheinu le'avoteinu ritzei b'mnuchateinu ka'adshenu b'mitzvotecha v'techalkeinu b'toratecha Sabeinu b'tuvecha v'samcheinu b'shuatecha v'taheh libeinu li'avdecha be'emet Ve'hanchilenu Adonai Eloheinu V'yahava u'ratzon Shabbat kacha V'nuchuva Yisrael Mikadeshei Shemecha Baruch atah Adonai Mikadesh Hashabbat.
Amen. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yamad yivrach yirutei v'yamachal chtei v'chayechor v'yamachon v'chayechol beit Yisrael. Bagala v'zman kari v'yamaru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach. Le'olam le'olam
Yitbarach.
Yiparach nishtabach v'yipar v'yipramah v'yitnasei. V'yitadar v'yitalav shemei v'risha.
Berichu.
Elamin kaveh chatav v'shiratatu. Shukatav v'nechmatav v'yamah v'yamah v'yamru.
Amen.
Tikabal soton v'oton d'chol Yisrael chatam v'bohon d'bishmai v'yamru.
Amen.
Yehi shlom rava mitshemai v'cham alein v'chol Yisrael v'yamru.
Amen.
Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Oyaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru.
Amen.
Amen.
A little too high for me.
I can't wait for the high holidays. We're going to have some fun together. Oh, Jacob. I miss Jacob.
Yeah.
You got to listen to me. Please rise for Kiddush. Next week we'll have Jacob. I hope. I hope he puts up with us, right?
Yeah, that's right.
We still sanctify God with the Kiddush. I will do it on your behalf here. For those of you home, I hope you have yours poured. I know Mimi took care of everybody. Thank you, Mimi.
Thank you, Mimi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'yava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zicharon lemaseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. הבנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, לשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen.
Before you sit, let's turn to page 55. 55, double nickel.
55.
And I want to tell you, last night, everybody knows we counted the 33rd night, right? So tonight, we're going to count the night after that night. So let's do this together. Let us read together the passage on page 55. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer as it is ordained in the Torah. You shall count from the eve of the second day of Pesach, when an Omer of grain is to be brought as an offering. 7 complete weeks. The day after the 7th week of your counting will make 50 days. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sirat ha'omer. Hayom arba'a u'shloshim yom, shehem arba'a shavuot, v'shisha yamim la'omer. 34 days, 4 weeks, and 6 days. We are getting there. You may be seated. So, again, it's great to see you here for this beginning, for this start. As we study this week's Torah portion, Emor, we find many verses that each of us will understand in different ways. Who is to say for sure who or what is right and who or what is wrong in our personal interpretations? Happens every single day, but especially with the Torah portion. You know, every year, and every Torah reading, I find something new every year and something more interesting. And when we study this parsha next year, again, after being through what we've been through, we'll probably even have another feeling or explanation of what the Torah means. And why is that? And whose fault is it? The reason I will explain in a minute. But whose fault is it? Now, without fear of being hit with a bolt of lightning, I will tell you, it's God's fault. Yep, it's God's fault. And it's only God's fault. And thank you, God. Nothing, no bolts of lightning, no thunder, although I heard the wind blow a little bit more. But there were no earthquakes, because God can take it. You know, why can I blame God? Why can I blame God for this and not suffer any repercussions? Just a few weeks ago, Moshe asked the name that God wanted to be known. The answer Moshe was given by God was, Eheyeh asher eheyeh. I will be what I will be. That implies that the relationship humans and God have will constantly be changing. As we become more mature as a society, as a Jewish people, and as individuals, we will have constantly changing relationships with God. What is important to understand is that God's words and wishes are represented to us through the greatest gift the human being has ever received, namely our Tanakh, our Jewish Bible. It is in this incredible foundational source of divine truth that we read who God is and how God works at the level that human beings can understand in our own particular way. One example of how this all works is found in this week's Torah reading, which is named Emor, which means speak. It is a commandment that Adonai gave to Moshe. And he says, speak to the priests, the descendants of Aharon, and speak these words to them. Did anyone notice that the word speak is repeated in this one sentence? Why is it that every single letter, let alone every word in the Torah, has significant importance? Why would God repeat the word speak? Perhaps it's because we are human beings and we do not always hear God's words. Sometimes it's because we are so distracted or feel so mature that we do not hear God at all. Other times we are simply not interested in what God wants of us because we have other plans that we know God would not like. By repeating the word speak, we are being told to make sure to go out of our way to both hear and listen to what God has to say, not only in the Torah, but in the context of our lives that we live in today. Prior to COVID, I was often asked to visit those who stood final vigil by the bedside of their loved ones. When I did, I saw examples of tzaddikim, truly righteous people standing and waiting for the moment to come when the final breath of their loved one was to be taken. I cannot tell you how many times I was asked if they should have done things differently. They asked if their loved one should have been left on life support, maybe just a little bit longer. At the same time, they heard a voice coming from their hearts and their heads telling them to follow our rich, proven, and very comforting Jewish traditions. Jews are also taught that people are rewarded for every act of kindness that we freely choose to do. This is true no matter how minor the good deeds may appear to be. There's a story about two women who shared a tzedakah project. They gladly took on the work and continued to do it, even with all the headaches that came with it. You all have experienced that, I'm sure. When you volunteer and put on a tzedakah project, it's got service, right? One of the more difficult days, they jokingly made a pact that if one of them were to die first, that person would come back and describe the reward that she received for her mitzvah. During one of the fundraising campaigns, one of the two women, she died. And as promised, she came back and appeared to the other in a dream. She told her friend that she was incapable of describing the intensity and degree of her reward, but she could share one thing that she thought a mere mortal could understand. She told the survivor that someday when she will arrive in the Shemayim, in the heaven, she will be presented with numerous doors, but she will only be given the privilege to enter one of them. The reason for this was because there was one time when a critical letter for the organization needed to be mailed out, and the survivor left it for someone else to put in the envelope and to put the envelope in the mailbox. Since she did not complete this mitzvah, her experience in the Shemayim and the heavens would be limited unless she worked harder to complete the rest of her mitzvot that were tasked to her. We learn from this that it is with significant motivation we can be encouraged to take that extra step, even to accept some discomfort to receive the reward. For example, athletes willingly push themselves to ensure that their body is fine-tuned to compete and win. They say, no pain, no gain. What about the eccentric multi-billionaire? He amused himself offering huge sums of money to people who were willing to amputate one of their toes for him. It's mishugas, huh? What if one of us gets approached by this person and we're asked to name our price after we get over our initial shock and insult? Would we? Could we? Or would we not do it if he offered us $15 million? After all, it's only a toe. What about if he ups the offer to 25 million, 50 million, 75 million? I think it's highly unlikely that eventually most of you will probably select a toe and forget about it. It's true, we all have a nice price. All human beings have the ability to accept and to eventually become grateful for the opportunity of enduring tremendous discomfort in the world, but only if we feel confident that we will be significantly compensated for it. As Jews, we are taught that besides receiving a reward for performing commandments for ourselves, God rewards those who enables others to perform commandments as well. As an example of this, if we see someone walking in the rain, carrying heavy bundles with a very noticeable limp, if we show rahmanis, mercy or pity, empathy on that person by pulling over to offer a ride, we are to be rewarded for performing that kindness. The thing is that we perform this kindness with the idea that we will receive a reward in return. That might cancel the reward. What is really interesting is that regardless of the reason the person who picked up the prospective passenger chose to do it, the passenger is always rewarded for allowing the driver the opportunity to perform the mitzvah. And one more example of feeling uneasy or put out is actually happening right here and right now this evening. Some of us have decided to come here in person to our beloved shul under the strictest of strict rules. Masks. Like Bernie was telling me before, he can barely see through his glasses because they're fogging up. I've already gotten used to it. We can't sing together, right? No social, we have to social distance. It's difficult, but someone had to take the first step to return. Someone had to take the first step. And sure, we're inconvenienced, but Gamzeya Avor, this too shall pass. And next year, we will all, with the help of God, we will all be here again, once again, without limitations, with the ability to sing out loud. And yes, I know the most important thing, to be able to have a feast after the service, to be able to sit together and schmooze together and have a l'chaim tovim together, break bread together. And to have that prime rib that we've been promised right here in this holy sanctuary. But the first step toward this wonderful mitzvah has been taken here tonight. And many people have given not to come or to come. Either way, it took someone to make a decision. And that's a mitzvah. And we're all better off because of the inconvenience of having to watch us on YouTube and Zoom and having to sit home and watch on a computer, and the inconvenience of having to sit here and not being able to sing. It's a mitzvah, and it will pay dividends. So the bottom line is we can see how easy it is to understand the Torah in so many ways. And who knows if our understanding is right or wrong? God certainly does. But if we think about the context of the situation, so do you and I. Performing mitzvot to be rewarded in Olam Haba is okay, but performing mitzvot because they are their own reward is so much better. And that is why God said, Ahiyeh asher ahiyeh, I will be what I will be. So we will always remember to keep our good deeds in context. Cutting off a toe for $50 million may be great for a short-term gratification, but it's not going to help anyone in Olam Haba. And that is why the word speak is repeated. It is up to each of us to make sure that we help guide people to do the right things all the time, not just for a reward, not just because it's convenient, but because it's right, because it's the right thing to do. And with that, I say, Shabbat Shalom. We now turn to page 51. Rabbi Bernie will now lead us in the Aleinu. You may rise, page 51.
Aleinu l'shavech ladon hakol latek gedula leotze bereshit shelo asanu kigrei haratzot velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama shelo sam chalkenu kahem b'gar aleinu kichol hamonam v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notesh Shamayim B'Yosei Daretz, U'Moshev Yikaro B'Shamayim Mima'al, Ushkinatu Zo, B'Gavhei Meromim, Hu Eloheinu Ein Od, Emet Malkeinu Efes Ulato, Kakatu B'Torato, V'yadata Hayom, V'ashevota El Levavecha, Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim, B'Shamayim Imal, V'yal Haaretz, Mitachat Ein Od. Kakato b'Torah Adonai yimlach li'olam va'ed v'ne'ema v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom ha'hu yeh Adonai echad u'shema echad Ushema echad.
You may be seated. At this time, we will remember with love the yortzites of Shlomo Amzalov, Evan Shelek, Lillian Dubchansky, Edith L. Feldman, Arnold Michael Dolan, Barbara Coleman, Frank Mark Reingold, Samuel Saby, Max Steinman, Israel Reuben Yodler, Joel Ziegelbaum, Louis Cohen, George Dubchansky, Eva Sulway, Jerry Kaczynski, Dr. Richard Gordon, Richard Littner, David Kaczynski, and Reuben Gordon. At this time, for those of you that are saying the Kaddish for a loved one or for a yortzeit, I would ask you to rise. And those of you that are with us in person or at home, if you wish to say the name of the loved one you're remembering tonight, you may do so at this time. May the faith that binds us to our loved ones be a continuing source of comfort as we invite those mourning and observing the yortzeit to now rise and join us as we recite the words of the Kaddish together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'alma divra chirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'yamru Amen.
Amen.
Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach, la'olam u'lomei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal, Shemei dekudisha barichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'alma v'yamru Amen. Yehei shlama rava min shemaya, V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru
Amen.
amen. And you may be seated. At this time, we're going to invite to the floor Adele Labarsky, our president, who has tonight's announcements for everyone. Adele?
I want to thank everybody for coming this evening, and I especially want to thank Rabbi Perlman, Rabbi Bernie, and Jeff Newton for making sure that everything was perfect. I know Rabbi and Jeff were many times measuring the distance between the chairs and everything, so thank you so much for doing that for us. Reminder to everyone, services tomorrow morning are at 9:30. Tomorrow night, Havdalah is at 8:29. Services Sunday through Thursday at 7 o'clock. Next Friday night, we will be only on Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube at 8 o'clock. The week after that, Friday night services will be at 7, and the students of our religious school will be leading us in the service that night. This Tuesday is Lunch Bunch at noontime with Rabbi Perlman. And Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom, Adele. Thank you for that. With that, we're going to conclude with Yigdal, and those of you at home, if you want, stay on. I'm going to unmute your microphones when we're done so you guys can schmooze a little bit. And the rest of us that are here, we have to leave because we're not supposed to do that, right? So
Right, no schmoozing.
no schmoozing. Actually, we'll have to clean our glasses off. So we're going to finish with Yigdal, page 53. 53. You want to do this responsibly?
Sure.
Go.
Yigdal Elohim Chai v'yesh kavach nimtza v'yenei del mitziuto.
Echad v'yen yachid keyichudo nelam v'gam etzof le'yachduto.
Ein lo demut haguf v'yein lo guf lo na'aroch elav kedushato.
Kadmon l'chol davar asher nivra rishon v'yen reshit l'reshito.
He no adon olam b'chol notza yoreg gedulato malchuto.
Shofen nevuato netano el anshe segulato v'tifarto.
Lo kam b'Yisrael kemo she'od navi umabid et temunato.
Oratem et natan leyamo el al yaneviyo neman beito.
Lo yachalif ha'el ve'lo yamidato li'olamim lizulato.
So fabio deya sitareinu mabit lesof davar bekadmato.
Gomer li'ish chesed kemifalo noten l'rasha ra kirishato.
Yishlach lechetz yamin meshicheinu lifnot mechakeketz yeshuato.
Meitim Yechayel berov chasto baruch adeyak shem tehilato.
Meitim Yechayel berov chaso baruch adeyat shem tehilato. And love our God restores the life of all our souls. May God be ever praised until eternity. We wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. And thank you all for joining us tonight. I think that Mr. Teitelbaum, and I want to thank him for watching the door tonight, is going to ask you to leave by rows. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom.
I couldn't unmute.
You can now. You just did.
Yeah.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Good
Shabbat
night.
Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom.
Mr. Pransky, I have made you the host. We're going to shut down here. So would you do us a favor and end the meeting when it's over?
Yes, I will.
Thank
Very
you, sir.
much.
Hi, Jim.
Good.
Hi,
Yeah,
Patsy.
hi. Who was that?
Bonnie.
Hi, everybody. I love the northern lights in the background. Anybody else notice that the rabbi, I don't think the rabbi was wearing a kippah.
Did he, could you
Yeah.
see it? Yeah, you can
Oh,
see
all
it.
right. I had
Maybe it
trouble
was
seeing
blending. It was blending into
on
his
our
hair.
feed.
Yes.
Okay.
I found that I was hard to hear his microphone too.
At times, sometimes he wasn't speaking directly into the phone, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
And-
It was
and
still kind of, it was good to
sometimes
see the
this is-
show. And my
and
husband's never
sometimes
been
when
there. So I showed him a
It's the
page.
two bubbles that have to be kind of smoothed out a little bit. But I
Yeah,
thought that overall, it went very, very well.
I agree.
Absolutely. When he
Yeah.
got loud, I think it overwhelmed the audio circuit in the computer because he had the Temple microphone system, the Temple audio system hooked directly to the computer. Okay, and when he got up into the upper volume ranges, it just overwhelmed what the computer
Okay,
could
that
go with.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So I suspect there in the Temple, it sounded fine.
Yeah, they need to put some filters in and some other stuff, and they need to, they need to tailor it. For instance, they should have screens built into the lecterns so they can see what's going on out there, and there probably should be a screen, a
At some
big
point.
screen in the background, what a lot of
Yeah.
institutions have done, so people and sitting in the audience, and they need a camera on top of the bimmer
Well,
to the audience so that people can see the audience.
I would never have been there on a Friday night. I would never go. So the Zoom is really good for me. So it's a really wonderful thing. And they're gonna keep it. They're gonna keep it. I know they are.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Ronnie,
They're-
I really like the northern lights in the background.
Oh, thank you. I don't know how I got them, but I had to Zoom a lot of things. I had to Zoom classes and I had to get on Zoom, and Zoom had like a picture. You might see somebody in space or you might see somebody on the moon. And this was one of them. And then there was like a beach with the waves and a palm tree. I don't know how they were there. Then I lost it. I lost it for like a long time. And then I upgraded Zoom or something, and then it came back. You could see my lovely refrigerator before. I don't know if this is better or not.
They're
Thank you,
really
Bob.
exciting, As well, you can download your own backgrounds.
I don't know how to do that. I'm like,
Ronnie, if you look where it's set on the bottom where it says stop video, or
uh-huh.
stop video, there's a little arrow. If you click on the up arrow, you can choose your virtual background.
Oh,
Okay, and that lets you either pick a picture or a video, whether it's one of the ones that they provided, or you can download your own.
okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
The
Yep.
one, oh, down at the bottom.
Yeah, on the bottom where it says
Oh,
stop
choose
video.
virtual background. Yeah, okay, I see that.
Okay, and then you can select the one you want.
Well, this is good for me. I'm all right with it, but,
All you have to do is tell us. We'll tell you how to do things.
well, thank you. Thank you so much. I know you're all great. I really look
We're so
forward to
glad
coming.
you could join us tonight.
We
It's
are.
nice to see you. I see Kit Perlman is on. She's muted. She doesn't want to talk. I see Kit was on. She didn't go to the show. Kit, you can call and talk. You can stay muted if you want. Or you can stay black if you want. No? All right. Maybe she's not near the
So there's
computer.
no Chaim Tovims then. All right.
No, because they can't do it at the temple. It's
I
a
know.
violation.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. Well,
You can drink where you are, however.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
We had
Yeah,
I get that.
595.
I can do it right now.
Translate that.
Yeah, right. That's what he needs to do.
Yeah, right. That's what I need. And Al Newman is here, and Al Newman's computer's been worked well last week.
Still makes me cough.
Al didn't sound like Mickey Mouse.
Oh, this is like probably Christmas. It's penguins and the holly, but it's the only one I could find in my house. I can't even show it to you. Oh, there.
Oh, all right. Oh, the shot glass. Yeah, I can see it. I can see the
Yeah,
penguins.
it's penguins and holly. It's like, and he's got like a Santa hat. I don't
Wine
know.
glasses that we've gotten from all over the place.
Yeah, hey,
Al.
Good night, Al.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Good night.
He doesn't know he's muted. Shabbat Shalom, Al.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom,
Take care.
everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Everybody.
Bye.
See you
Shalom.
from
So. Okay,
Awesome, awesome. All right.
okay.
Everybody's going bye-bye. All right, well, then
Okay,
in
good
that
night.
case, then I'm going to end the meeting. Good night, everyone. Good night, Mrs. Kelly.